All right. Well, we're going to usher in our next guest. And you're checking out Weekend at Gabe. What Weekend Gabe's the real Sam Crane. We're holding you down here on this Friday night. Our next guest joins us, the awesome Monica Rose, who just put out the fantastic new video, Middle Child from Mars. I think Monica is joining us. I see her in the box, but I think she froze.
Ah,
Um,
oh, we can hear her. We can hear
can you
Monica.
hear me?
We can hear you.
We're having trouble
We're
seeing
having
you.
trouble
Let
seeing you.
me see.
You
One
were
sec.
on, like we up, but it just dropped her. Yep. It's just that kind of night with the internet,
We're
man.
having a weird internet evening, dude. But shout out Monica Rose, an incredible vocalist,
Yeah,
pianist who joins us now.
you're right.
Um,
We got you. You're locked
Oh,
in.
yo.
All right, good,
hell
good,
yeah.
good evening. Thank you for
I
joining
can
us here
see
on
me.
Weekend at Gabe.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having
Good.
me. This is cool.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure. You have the new video out there, Middle Child from Mars, which has this crazy claymation about it. I want to learn more about this, but also want to learn a lot about you. But let's start with the video. I
Yeah.
understand Sam said that you were working on this during the pandemic last year. So you and another producer were
hmm
helping construct and put this together. What was like the time frame of how many hours? Because I can't imagine claymation takes a very, very long time.
So I am like the most impatient person ever. So this was like terrible for me, like horrible. I'm also like a huge control freak as well. So I feel like once I have an idea, it kind of has to go my way or it's canceled or we're scratching or whatever. But anyway, so the song is actually called Alien. I kind of just
Mm,
put that title on YouTube um, because the title Alien had like too many other uses. And so I felt like it was going to get lost. And that's kind of like no one probably knows that, but like it's kind of like the story in my mind was like she's a middle child from Mars, kind of like falling down from Mars. But we'll get to that. But anyway, it was like the first day of quarantine, and I kind of had this idea of doing a claymation, and I was like, I don't have time for that. I don't have patience for that. Like, I don't know. But then I got news that like I would just be home for a while. So I lived with my best friend at the time, and we started it with Play-Doh. So we started it with Play-Doh, and she had like minored in film, so she had a little bit of like film school background, and she was like, "Dude, to be honest with you, like this is not gonna work." But
mm,
like being the control freak I am, I was like, "No, it's gonna work. Like we're gonna do it." Like I get very just on one and ambitious when I kind of like think of an idea I'm passionate about. So but it didn't work. So then I looked at the footage and I was like, "Ooh, no, this is not it." So then it kind of got put on hold for a couple months. But then, just like meeting people, I met this guy Justin, who's like a friend of a friend, and he totally downplays himself. He's amazing, amazing, and he always just did like little claymation or stop motion or like that paper stop motion where
right.
it's kind of like he does that stuff. And I saw it and he was just like super just laid back, like, oh yeah, it's nothing. And I was like, yo, you're amazing. And so then we started working together on that. And what I really liked about him is he taught me how to make clay. So make
Mm,
clay figures. So he brought over all his tools and he made me do it, which I thought was really cool. He didn't just like come in and like make my dreams come true. He was like, okay, you're gonna make this happen. So he was kind of like a big teacher in that too. So yeah, so then we kind of did it together, and it took I think the setting up the photos, taking the photos, and editing the photos was 19 hours, and
wow.
then the real people part. So yeah, yeah, but I don't know. I'm kind of like I like to make things that are different. Like I just it's a hopeless cause, but I always want to like be the first to like do something or like kind of have something that's like super different. And obviously, claymation has been done before. Like we all
Sure.
love Wallace and Gromit, but I guess I that's something I hadn't seen. So I came up with like the story of middle child from Mars. I'm a middle child. I'm one of six, and I definitely don't fit in my family. And so I started writing this song with the lyrics, and then I was kind of thinking like, oh, like she could be like an alien, and she's running away from Mars, and she meets this guy in a forest, and it's like New York City, and she's like his muse.
Mhm.
Um, and it then she like kind of goes crazy in the city because she realizes actually she can't really exist here, she's better off like just where she came from. So then she goes back home, and I was like, okay, like maybe I can act it out. And then once again I was like, yeah, that's doing way too much. And then I thought, okay, maybe animation. But then I kind of felt like I've been seeing a lot of animation lately, and so then I was like, okay, maybe like claymation. So that's kind of how that whole thing
Can we
will work.
expect claymation figurines Monica Rose signed off on? Can we expect that as a merch line in the future?
Yeah, an NFT.
An
Here's
NFT?
my
Yeah.
claymation.
Oh,
Um, oh man. I feel like there's something I'm missing with NFT. Is it real? You just buy the file?
I mean, it's there's a certain way of minting it. You have
Yeah.
to mint it through Ethereum, but essentially, it's any file, man, any MP3,
Just put it
any.
on your
Well, I guess
computer.
MP3s is a whole weight of rights problems, but
Right, right.
people
Yeah.
have been making
Crazy.
GIFs, images, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you have been getting into editing video yourself, along with this whole
Right.
claymation thing. Butterflies is the other video out now. I think that
Yeah.
was the self-edited one.
Yeah,
And
I had
then
to
also
practice. I did butterflies, brat, and soapy kisses. So
all
that's
three of them.
another thing that I really like. Yeah. So I'm also kind of person where it's like once I realize I am like intimidated by something or like afraid or uncomfortable, I'm like, oh, well now I have to do it. So I always consider myself like video is not my thing, right? Like I write, I paint, I sing, but I don't edit videos or photos. But I think that was like really limiting for me to just like say that about myself and just take on that identity of that's not what I do, that's not my realm. So like I said, Justin, I remember one day we were editing and he kind of was taking more control and doing it his way. And then I was like, the control freak I am, I'm like, you know what? I don't really like it. And he was like, okay, well here's the footage. Let me know if you have any questions. And he just like left it with me.
mm,
And I was like, "Oh, shit." So then I was like, "Okay, let me get Final Cut, let me figure out how to edit." So then I did a couple home videos, which was decent. Like I needed some lyric videos for those songs anyway. And yeah, so I think editing videos is something that I actually it feels like it feels like poetry almost because you start to realize the smallest change of like angle or like if you change the frame just a tenth of a second earlier, it completely changes the message kind of. And I feel like that's sort of how words are too, like your delivery of words or like how you choose to use your words. So I thought that was interesting, and I
I've
really like
never
that about it.
I've never heard it described as such before, but I actually really love the comparison. There's so many subtleties of video editing that people when they watch like a YouTube video, they don't even realize. But like once you sort of get into the
Yeah,
weeds of it, it's like you start to notice all these kinds of like crazy little just
right.
flourishes and things like that that people throw in there, and you're like, how the heck did you do that?
yeah, wow. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it can be like really simple, but
to add to Monica's point about like because when I started doing when I was going to Columbia and just doing radio broadcasts, like video was iMovie was kind of starting to become a little bit more frequently used by students, but it wasn't like commercialized yet. And
mhm,
but then like the last I want to say 3 4 years, getting like the same kind of to your point where you're saying Monica is like It's like you're just not like this isn't the only thing I do. Like there's other things I could be doing to enhance my work and to also showcase it the way I want it to be presented. And sometimes when you hire someone to do it who's completely qualified and probably has all the skills, but they just don't see it the same way that you see it, and that can
Yeah.
cause like you to just like take ownership of it. And that's kind of where I've been the last few years as well, with like really
Oh,
owning the way that I want it to be projected instead of relying on other people to do it for me. And it's like, yeah, it's great, it's out there, but it's not the way I want it to look. But developing those skills on your
yeah.
forcefully really like help you like move your art forward instead of waiting for someone else to do it for you. So I think that's a great lesson.
Yeah, man, I totally agree, and that's kind of none of us say discouraging, but like, "Oh, so it never ends. So you can just stay this way. You never, like, grow out of it." You said you're, like, been like this for a couple years. Um, but yeah, I think that, with the internet too, you can really learn anything,
Oh,
and I
absolutely.
feel like, yeah, everything becomes, like, so accessible. You can figure out how to do anything. I mean, um it's just time. It's just like, would you rather spend your money or your time? It just comes down to that. And also, I think something I've learned in this past year too is like pay your homies. Like, do not put yourself in a network of people that all can do a little bit of everything and then just kind of like eat off them. I don't know if this is really related, but it just kind of came to mind because this is something I've learned kind of in the process of, well, like I said, I used to like hate doing videos and photos and stuff, and so have other people do them. But yeah, I think that especially in Chicago, um, I guess I see it a lot where I feel like people don't pay their homies. They're kind of like, oh, we work together or whatever. But it's like there are no favors. Something has to give. So either do it yourself or pay someone what they deserve and like really communicate your idea,
Mm,
and then once they've done their part, you can either take it into your hands or, yeah.
word.
Um,
I heard music
so yeah.
described to me before as an infinite game. So I like what you say about it never ending. But speaking of infinite games and things returning like they never left, live music tomorrow, right? Are you performing
Yeah.
tomorrow?
Yeah, how about that? I was like, "Whoa, this is happening." Yeah, so it's a little show at, the place is called Divinity 7, so it's an apparel store, owned by one of the guys, or I think he owns it. Maybe it's, like, partially owned by him. But anyway, he's been doing this thing called Sessions at 7, started 2 years ago. I wanna say last year, but it wasn't. It was 2 years ago. I just forget that 2020, like, existed. And so it's really cool. It's like an art show. There's usually, like, poets. I'm more of, like, alternative R&B. There's a lot of rap. They kinda, like, sell cool drinks and stuff. Obviously, this time it's gonna be a little bit more low key than that, but it's definitely happening. And yep, it's tomorrow. So I know it's 30 people capacity. I'm not sure if there's tickets left, but I think maybe there should
There
be.
is the link in the
So
bio
the
on
link is in the
Instagram.
bio, yeah. So if it says you can buy a ticket, you can buy a ticket.
Word,
Nice.
word. Go run that up. This got to be a
Yep.
sellout, man. It's got to be a sellout. Wear a mask, of course.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, that's gonna be like kind of an interesting thing is like looking out at people like all wearing masks.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's gonna be.
that's a little
Yeah,
scary, I
I'm
think.
like, right.
But
I don't know.
I
I'm more like the intimate performer, so I don't know if it's good or bad, but
Hmm.
as someone who's like myself, who's eager to get back to either performances or live sports, just being present around it, I have no problem
mhm.
wearing a mask, and I think that's going to be our new norm for at least a couple more years. So I think we just all have to grow comfortable with it. Like that's just going to be the way it is. But it's kind of like for you as an
Yeah,
artist, you read the expressions from the people you're performing for, and you could tell through either their eyes or through their movement of their mouth if they're enjoying something or
yeah.
not. Like you being in the Zoom call and talking, and all the cameras are off. It's like you can't read the room. You kind of don't know if people are feeling
Yeah,
it or not, and I assume that probably kind of creates a sense of doubt or uncertainty that may affect your performance or not. I
But
don't know. It definitely, yeah,
but
I
on
can
the
see.
other hand, yeah, well, on the other hand, you can't tell, like, if they're not into it, and if they're kind of just like, "Oh, whatever," you know? So it's sort of like you can just choose to believe that they're, like, super into it. Um, but
It's
also, I feel like before everything got shut down, there was such a saturation of, like, events and performances. I remember doing shows where, like, everyone was talking the whole time, and I
Those,
was like, I
yeah,
don't know. My stuff is like soft and like intimate and vibey, and I was just like, oh, it sucks, you know. And I feel like now, maybe I don't know. We'll see tomorrow, but I'm maybe like maybe now that everything's like few and far between. When there is an event or a show, like I said, it'll be smaller capacity and people actually care. You know, free performers. It doesn't go on all night. You come for the thing you came for, and and you watch it. Hopefully,
and you value it a
yeah.
little bit
We'll
more
see.
because it wasn't
Yeah,
there before, you know. I liked what you said about your genre and sort of
yeah.
genre bending. I have a hard time placing you in one genre myself.
I
Where
do
would
too.
you where would you place it? I wouldn't say you're full on like R&B soul. You have this sort of pop, but also a very distinct grunge sort of vibe, almost a punk vibe.
Yeah, I do too, actually. I honestly do too. Um, I would say that I love jazz. So I
Mm.
play piano. I teach piano, and I've played piano since I was like 8. And I've always loved jazz. I remember when I got my first easy jazz book or whatever, it was like I learned all the songs. I'm like, I bought the next one. So I feel like I do have like a little bit of like offbeat, like jazziness to me, but I also am very inspired by like Alina Baraz sort of dreaminess.
Hmm.
But also I like Portishead that is sort of like experimental, like weird instruments in and out. Um, but then I kind of I always, listen to, like, Flyleaf, like Gwen Stefani, Pink, like old Pink.
Old
Um,
Pink, yeah.
so yeah, so there is some, like, some some rockerness to it. I know, it's rough. I guess someone called me Trap Bajork the other day. They're like, "You're like Trap Bajork," like hard Bajork, like, I don't know.
That's
Well,
word. I
It goes
love that.
unanswered. I change my Instagram bio, like, once a month. I, like, find a new word that I am.
well, because
Um,
you described it as
yeah,
alternative R&B a moment ago, and I thought that was interesting
yeah,
because we're starting to see like people describe like their hip hop alternative R&B or alternative rap, and because it doesn't
yeah,
fit what people imagine that sounds like, but it has includes a fusion or elements of it, but it's something that's been paired off, and there just isn't a box
right.
for it. And,
I
and I,
think the reason my g yeah. No, no, you're right. I think everything's alternative now. Everything's, like, other, you know?
right,
Like, everything's, like, the truest meaning of bohemian, right? Like,
but
the bohemian is, like, the person that just, like, does things differently, you know? The term boho is very, like, oh, you know, kind of overused these days, but, like, I think of bohemian, like, if you look up, like, 1940s bohemian, I'm like, "Ooh, I would hang out with them for sure." Like, they're just on some other shit, like, they just dress like all types of things, and I just feel like my music is kind of bohemian in that sense, whereas, like, I love trap and R&B beats, but my voice is not like, my delivery and, like, kind of, like, the way I go on the beat isn't really R&B. Kinda like how you were saying, was just like there's a little bit of, like, punkiness to it sometimes, question mark? So
right.
it can be, like, kind of confusing for sure, but yeah, I think boho R&B, jazzy
I'm
trap.
sticking with Trap Bjork. I love that.
For sure,
Yes,
I,
yeah. Yeah, Trap York. Yeah,
but
I thought that one was funny.
But if you really think about it, like that's the only way the music grows is that people take chances and like expand past what we think we know and the thing that we expect. Otherwise, you just get a bunch of clones of people trying to make the next song that sounds like the last hit song. I give you a lot of credit for
Yeah.
just steering your own path, and like it sounds great to you and it works. So not trying to follow fads or follow
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, I
Thinking,
feel like every time for sure, yeah, thanks. I mean, every time I feel like I tried to fit in, I just, like, fail miserably, and it's just, like, really embarrassing and, like, uncomfortable for everybody. So, I feel like I generally just try to do what comes natural to me and not try to, like, question myself too much. I mean, I
Right.
question everything, including myself, but
listen,
but you kinda get the gist.
I would rather our show suck than us than be trying to be another Jimmy Fallon. It's like
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Although I think I'm gonna make
Yeah,
a
at
run
least
at it. I think I'm gonna make a run at the Tonight Show and make my own ice cream, and that I'm gonna give it the old college try.
we need a budget for sound effects first, and then let's get an ice cream machine. All right,
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
baby steps, Sam. Baby steps.
And so, speaking of music and new music, I heard a snippet through the grapevine of the multi-band song. Hanover just
Mhm.
got re-uploaded the other day with you, multi-band and Retro Gibson. Um, can we expect new multi-band collabs soon?
Yeah. Yeah,
The
for
Peter
sure. We
Pan,
had a couple.
Tinkerbell.
The Peter Pan one is a bop. That one's good. That one for sure. Yeah, there's a couple in the works. Peter Pan. We're not sure if it's gonna be called Wendy or Peter Pan. We don't
Word,
know. We don't know whose song it is, but should be coming out sooner than later. Yeah, it feels kind of springy, summery, so I can
word.
see it. I can see it kind of coming out with the warmer weather, with the sun. But I'm also working on an EP.
Nice.
Um, and that's probably gonna be down the line in the fall with, like, a single or 2 before that,
I
so
think that's
definitely
your
new
season.
music.
I think that's your season. Fall time is a good time for a Monica
Yeah.
Rose drop. It's it's about that time.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Yeah, I think fall. So, probably a single or 2 in the summer, definitely a multi-band song or 2. We were just talking about the music video, and of course, I came with some elaborate ideas that are way out of budget, but we got a game plan now, so
Of
so we
course.
got it coming. But
Well,
yeah, so the claymation stuff, I really did enjoy it. It did take a long time. I think it would be cool to kinda use that as, like, a Monica Rose thing, like, at least, like, in the credits or something, like,
I'm down for
you know what
that.
I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Kinda
for sure.
kinda make that my thing. Um, but yeah, watch out. Not for the faint of heart.
there you go. Well,
Right.
Monica,
The
thank you.
alien's gone too, so
Well, thank you for stopping through tonight here on Weekend at Gabe's. Tell people again where they can find, or if there are tickets available for tomorrow night's performance.
yes, I believe there are tickets available. There are tickets available. The link is in the bio, in my bio. I'm on Instagram underscore Miss Monica Rose underscore. All my music is on main streaming services. Got some videos on YouTube, including the claymation. And yeah, hopefully see whoever at the show in their mask.
There you go. Well, good luck
Okay.
tomorrow. I'm sure it's going to go
Thanks.
great. The mask, and I'm pretty sure everyone's going to enjoy and appreciate you. So we wish you all the best. Please feel free
Thank
to
you.
stop by again anytime you want to plug something or talk about the new music. We'd love to have you back.
Yeah, most that. Yeah, this is cool.
Come
Sweet.
to poetry on Sunday, but no.
I will for real this time.
I bet. I'll
All
see
right.
you then.
All right. Peace, guys. Nice
Bye.
talking
Much
All
to
right.
love.
Good
you. Bye.
Rose joining us here on Weekend at Gabe's. You going to go check out the show tomorrow?
I was really thinking about it, and I came very, very close to buying tickets, but having just got my vaccine yesterday, I don't feel safe. And respect to Monica Rose, I will catch the next one.
All right, sounds good. I look forward to it as well. I can't wait to. I think I'm more like for outdoor, but I know a
Yeah,
lot of people.
outdoor. The summer's gonna be a good time. Hopefully we can get back into Millennium Park and have some of those like concerts in the park. feel like
Yeah,
that's
that'd
a
be
good
great if
socially
the
distance.
city, yeah, if the city could bring those back. And then, like kind of what Timothy Hyde was saying on Tuesday, where he's still kind of waiting to see if like Ravinia and did we say Riot Fest?
Riot Fest, yeah, Riot Fest. I guess the jury's still out on Riot Fest, although I did see a headline that suggested it was selling tickets at the very least.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it. But either way, go see Monica Rose tomorrow night. Where's the location at again?
It is in the South Loop. Delano Court, I believe, is the street. I don't necessarily know where that is, but I know that it's off the red line, like 2 blocks. If you want to take the train, the link is in her bio, Miss Monica Rose on
That's
Instagram, and you can find her Monica Rose on all streaming platforms.